Hello and welcome to another episode of FinTech Focused with the TV with me, Toby Babb. We are back online for the first time in a while now, and we're over in the States and talking to Olly Downs from Curinos. Olly, lovely to have you on the show. How are you?
Toby, doing well, thank you, and really excited to be here.
Wonderful. Listen, we've had a little preamble beforehand. It's been great getting to know you a little bit more and hearing a little bit of the story. So it's a hell of a show to talk to you about. It's one of my favorite subjects, one of the most pertinent subjects at the moment, AI, data, everywhere in between. We've bonded over a bit of a love affair with the southwest of England, but also one of the first people I've seen who's made the move from Budley Salterton to Seattle. So lots of good stuff to talk about around there as well. But before we do all of this, Ollie, and dive into some fascinating stuff that you are doing with the company personally, everywhere in between. I wanted you to give a bit of an introduction to yourself. Tell us a bit about your journey, and then obviously the company as well.
Yeah, I'm Olly Downs. I'm Chief Technology and AI Officer at Curinos. Began my career at Microsoft Research. I feel like I've lived through three of what I would consider to be the four waves so far of AI. Had the privilege to do 9 different startups, all in the data science, machine learning, and AI space, and joined Curinos back in 2023, which acquired one of my startup companies, Amplero.
Fantastic. 9 startups. I mean, that's either a good thing or a bad thing, right? Tell me a little bit about the journey so far. I'm going with good.
All the startups made my beard turn gray, but I got to spin out Microsoft Research's first IP ventures company, which is traffic data and navigation data company, Inrix, which I think you will probably all hear on the radio in the UK, providing traffic information. Took me on a journey through the burgeoning world of very large data and ad tech, and then through location-based technologies into marketing technology, and Amplero as Curinos's lifecycle marketing decision intelligence platform focused on retail banking.
Fantastic. And tell us a little about Curinos itself.
So Curinos was founded in 2021, and we have a wealth of banking data spanning North America and the UK primarily. Our data assets are focused on deposit pricing, lending originations, and marketing, and allow comparative analytics between regions, banks, national, super regional, credit unions, building societies, and so on. Our data spans about 7 trillion in deposits, 3 trillion in mortgage originations, and about $9 billion in marketing spend.
Wow.
Allows us to offer very unique SaaS solutions that allow comparative pricing and decision optimization, both for lending and deposit pricing, but also lifecycle marketing, customer value, and engagement marketing activity too.
And talk to me about some of the clients who you're working with. What sort of size, shape, etc.
We have over 1,200 financial institutions as our customers, spanning from, we have 85 of the top 100 North America plus UK financial institutions as our clients, including in
15
the top
just
5.
tapping on the door, waiting to get involved, right?
Yeah, just tapping on the door, and then it goes all the way down to some of the smallest local and community banking institutions in various regions, particularly in the United States. So we really run the gamut.
Well, is that, and it is, there's a huge variety in the States, isn't it? You kind of lose track of that when you're sometimes based over here, just this sort of sheer volume
Yes.
of financial institution over in the US right now, which makes it a really interesting sort of market to be in, right?
It's very interesting because who your competitor is a very interesting thing, and what your value proposition should be is a very interesting thing, because the community bank down the street, that they're still competing with a Wells Fargo or a Citi, for the same customers, but the value proposition that they have is very different. And that's as true for Citi or Wells Fargo or KeyBank trying to figure out how to operate in a particular location and how to price, as it is for that small community bank looking to favorably acquire deposits and provide lending solutions.
I think there's also a lot of democratization through tech that's happened recently, isn't there? For that, that's leveled the playing field a little bit with all that sort of stuff. I mean, look, you're never going to
Very much
compete
so.
with some of the biggest, but it's the ability and opportunity to utilize tech to sort of compete at that sort of level is a is a very different game right now.
Yeah, particularly some key sort of platform technologies that enable common, user functionality. And then the question is, should you be differentiating on technology, or should you differentiate on service, or should you differentiate on pricing? And how do you combine those things?
So 9 startups through a journey is and look, it's a very specific type of person who loves the sort of startup journey, right? And I've been through it, at numerous different times myself, and I love it. I love the sort of the underdog spirit, the sort of journey. I love working with startups. I love seeing companies scale, etc., etc. Talk to us about the sort of where you're at now, and what sort of lured you into a sort of slightly different thing with this with the scan, and what's exciting about that, and what and how do you utilize both elements of it?
The really interesting thing is, I've felt that having done so many data-driven startups, one of the challenges is always, that you not just having the idea and evolving the product, but you often need a data asset to get going, and being able to find a way to get to a scaled data asset so your value proposition to your first customers is strong enough can really be a challenge. And particularly in an industry, a B2C enterprise industry, like banking, you sort of end up going whale hunting to try and find some big customers that give you enough data. I think the really interesting thing has been joining Curinos, and Curinos was our go-to-market partner for my startup in banking because of
Mm,
this reason. The span of the data assets we have is vast. And I think from our own perspective, actually, and from my perspective too, it's bigger than we can innovate from comprehensively ourselves. Right?
mm,
We obviously we have interesting new products coming into the market. We're looking at some very interesting external data products for non-banking but banking adjacent financial institutions. But really finding mechanisms for scaled innovation is a challenge in a larger enterprise because you actually have so much to build from.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that makes it such an interesting sort of play, because you talked about some massive data sets there
Yeah.
beforehand, right? There is a one thing you're not short of is a little a little bit of data behind where you're at with the business, and I think when you're talking about a sector, the banking sector, where there is so much opportunity around AI and so much hype at the moment. I've been to, this is very much event season for me, and I've been, it feels like I've been a constant
Yeah.
evolving conveyor belt over the last few weeks of going to various different events, and it's fascinating. I think there's a real buzz at the moment. I've done it, been in the sector for 25 years myself. I've seen various different sort of hype cycles of various technologies that have come in. But this one feels like there is a lot of appetite to do it, but still just these early sort of phases about what can we actually do with it and where can we deal with it. And you mentioned being through three of
Yeah.
the four waves of AI in your career so far. And I think you sort of mentioned about some of the stuff that you were doing in 99 as a for example around where
Yes.
we go with it. So I think whilst people in the know are looking at AI and saying, there's nothing particular, this isn't a new thing, this is something which has been evolving and moving at pace. It feels to me at the moment that with um this golden opportunity we have in finance to really embrace it and to utilize all of the enormous amounts of data we've got into it, and to increase productivity and create efficiencies. There's this golden piece that comes into it. We've also got an industry that, for obvious reasons, is very averse and conservative to rapid change,
Yes.
and to investment into things that may be a little bit daunting or cause some problems for obvious reasons. Regulation has saved or caused fortunes for a number of different people at various different phases. But it's obviously a sector where you can't say, right, AI can come in and just be, reap its positives through it. It has to be done with a staggered cautioned approach, which I think becomes a really interesting sort of play to it. And that's very much where you guys are at the forefront of, right? So tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
where we sit today in the whole thing, and how you guys are getting to play in the game.
I would say one of the interesting things I've learned over my career so far is that the interesting thing about machine learning and AI driven solutions is finding the right human to machine boundaries. And I actually think the sort of regulatory framework we operate in, both in the UK, Europe, and North America, it actually it pushes the creativity around, what are the right places for checks and balances? What are the places where a human decision can be impactful in refining a customer experience and also helping mitigate bias concerns? It actually creates interesting opportunities building products that are particularly data driven ones. For example, we and our deposit optimization product, one of the challenges we've had actually is it's highly specialized for use by pricing analytics teams. And it's hard for the business stakeholders to understand the output relative to their business objectives without the team operating the system sort of communicating those findings. We've been able to use generative AI to help us formulate summary narratives of what was the objective, is the objective being met, and how is the objective being met from a pricing strategy perspective to engage business stakeholders in our products. And in other areas, we've been able to use AI to help us scale creativity. Before the
Mm.
review and sort of compliance review comes in, how do you scale up the ideas you should have about engaging customers with the new products you've just priced or the promotional pricing that you're using? What are the best ways and what's a good variety of ways to engage customers there? But then triage those ideas down through compliance review that can be fast and efficient, but allows you to look at a number of different options and then play them out and find good performance among the customer base. So that's been really fun for us. But I would say one of the other challenges is with this sort of vast portfolio of data we have is, like I alluded to, can't innovate broadly enough or fast enough. And so actually last week, we launched the Curinos FinTech incubator powered by the University of Washington's Co-Motion Labs. And while the university is in Seattle, the opportunity is global. And with the FinTech incubator, we're really encouraging innovators with interesting ideas in FinTech. If you could be augmented by having access to a very interesting suite of banking industry data and expertise, we would love to hear from you and have you participate in the incubator. For us, it's a way to open two-way doors to innovation that perhaps we wouldn't have otherwise thought of.
I mean, this is incredibly cool, isn't it? I mean, it's and I can see just the way that you speak about it. You're excited about it at the same sort of
Yeah.
stage, and it's that sort of poacher turned gamekeeper piece around it at the same sort of
Yes.
from a 9-time startup guy to now being able to look at that and work with that. I mean, that's an incredible opportunity for people coming into this sort of program, isn't it? As well, alongside everything else, but I guess it's a testament to the fact that you're in it that again gives people the confidence to come in there and do that. So talk to me about the what's in it for them, of the people who'd be involved in this incubator. Why you? There's obviously lots of incubators out there. There's lots of people again sort of turning now to wanting to invest. There's, it feels like we're on this dawn of more money coming back into the sector, people looking to invest, particularly if AI is worded on a pitch deck and all this sort of thing. But there's a wave of people there looking to invest in this, and lots of different opportunities. We know the banks, as I've said before, are building have always had incubators to embrace technology and augment their own personal teams to say, right, if we see something, can we bring it in and give them the support to then take that sort of thing through. This I think is a really fascinating sort of concept for you guys to be involved in, doing something different realistically around it, but also giving the people there. So how does it benefit everyone in this ecosystem?
Yeah, our unique proposition for the incubator is twofold. I sort of already alluded to the challenge with the data-driven startup of having a data asset to discover the right product from and then to develop that product. And of course, we have a unique portfolio of data assets, and we're launching an external data business to help fuel that. So we have an opportunity to allow incubator members to access and engage with those data assets. And then secondly, we have unprecedented presence in the industry. Like I said, we have over 1,200 financial institutions in North America and the UK are our customers. The biggest banks in the UK are our customers. We can provide you with industry advice, and we can also provide access to that marketplace for incubator members. So we think it's a unique sort of ecosystem, one, to fuel product development, but then secondly, to fuel business development as well. And both of those are often, a couple of the most challenging points of really getting traction for your startup.
And what sort of businesses do you think you'll be attracting to it? What sort of size, scale, maturity, all of the above?
So we can really, I think, have the biggest impact in the pre-seed, seed, Series A, and Series B stage before there's full repeatability and you're trying to find growth and traction at that pre-seed or seed stage. It's really about product discovery and product development, and where there we think our unique data assets, and of course the expertise of our team coming into play, both not just from banking industry expertise, but our product technology and AI expertise too. And then secondly, as you get more into the customer focused, beginning to drive repeatable growth, really, as you're discovering a product, you have to discover product and market fit and test that with potential customers and prospects in the industry. And we have unique access to prospects across all sort of tiers and sizes of financial institutions that can really help refine a product and refine a go-to-market proposition for a new startup.
That's incredible. And are people signed? Is it too fresh to say people are in it and already, or have you been kissing some frogs, or what sort of what sort of phase are we at right now?
We've already been surprised by the level of inbound that we've had following the announcement last week. We're in a selection process right now. We applications close at the end of April, and we'll have a pitch day in May and make our selections hopefully in June, and launch the first annual cohort in July.
That's so cool. And so you must be looking forward to sort of seeing this. I speak to a lot of VCs, as you probably imagine, all the time, and I'm always fascinated about how difficult yet brilliant it must be to, and difficult because you've got to say no to people who you really want to get involved in, but brilliant just seeing this sort of like this wave of innovation and ideas and energy and enthusiasm. I love speaking to startups, always have, and seeing them go on this sort of journey. But I think um, from a pitch point of view, I think people can come into it and miss their opportunity. They could have the best teams, the best products, etc., but just foul up the way that they deliver the information so often around that, and it takes them a few times to get that right before they go to it. So when you're sat there and you're going to have all of these people there who you'll be willing, I'm sure, of every single one of them to want to come in there and blow your socks off. What would you suggest would be some of the things you're looking for? How are you approaching it? What do you expect to, what can people do to really catch your eye?
I would say that, I've been part of many fundamentally flawed pitches over my career. I was
Same.
in one round. I pitched 43 funds before we landed the right investor, and I'm sure part of it was imperfect pitches. And I would say, don't worry about the polish of the pitch. Worry about the polish and breadth of the thinking you've put into the business. And we'll be looking for fundamentals, but perhaps help call out to us the gaps where our expertise or our assets could fit, and
Yeah.
fill a gap for you that you haven't got the answer for in your business yet.
Yeah.
Share with us the open questions, and help us understand how we can really help accelerate you. I think that's the key is, if you've already solved it, it'll be fun to be sort of on the edges of your journey, but you're already sort of going. But if we can really make a difference
Yeah.
for your business and we can see that connection, then that's where we can really lean in and help you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because I think one of the things I always say, that we all know that seed, Series A, Series B has a much higher failure rate than it does success rate, unfortunately,
Yes.
for lots of different reasons. But one of the biggest reasons that I see within that is the partners that people pick. And quite often there, where you're looking for the funding, or you're looking for the right partners, etc., you do it out of necessity rather than design. And I think the critical thing that you said there, which I love, is the benefit of you doing this is there is that sort of database, there is that client base, there is something there that can be mutually reciprocal around what you're doing. And I think when you've got those partnerships there, where it's not just about, right, what can we take out of this from both sides of it, but how can we sort of really utilize the best of both to turbocharge everything, that's where it could get really exciting, isn't it?
Totally agree, Toby. Yeah, totally agree.
So with all of that, what does the big vision look like? Where does it head for you with all of this?
The big vision for us with Curinos is to, grow as an innovative partner to banking institutions around the world, to continue to improve the quality of our data assets, continue to improve our ability to inform decision making, whether that's through advice or through our technology, and to engage in an increasingly broad set of stakeholders in each bank so that they can be making great decisions no matter where they sit in that banking business.
So it's very good. And so when you're looking at that and you're saying, right, this is where we want to go and what it can look like. You've been there, as you say, you've sort of drunk the Kool-Aid. You came in there. I love the journey when it's someone who you're partnering with and then decide, right, we like it so much we're going to go through, and it's that
Yes.
mutual marriage that comes through with that sort of thing. It's quite interesting on a personal basis of someone who's come through that as to where you see. I love the title first and foremost, the Chief Technology and AI Officer. The sort of and AI comes into the technology piece. How does it develop for you, Ollie?
Well, for me, I've come to sort of the chief technology officer side from the AI side, which I think is unusual,
Yeah,
but very appropriate to the type of business we have as Curinos. If you think
and to the
about the
world we live
AI.
in at the moment, isn't it? It's a collision.
Exactly, exactly. And the key thing about AI capabilities, whether that's a general purpose AI like you experienced with ChatGPT, or whether it's something, a specific functionality you experience in customer service um, or when you call somewhere. Um, the key to it is that we're really trying to infuse and use it as a tool in any experience, and it just is one of a set of tools. But in a data-driven business like ours, the underlying data powering the AI is the thing that makes it good. It's the
Mm,
thing that makes it knowledgeable about a specific domain. It's the thing that makes it accurate and trustworthy. And you can't get away from the fact that if you have bad data, whatever your experience is, whether it's a normal sort of reporting and analytics experience or it's an AI driven experience, it will be bad if the data is bad.
yeah.
And so for me, as almost like a chief AI officer, historically coming to be a chief technology and AI officer, it's really about putting these two things together.
And there's a word you mentioned a number of different times to this conversation, and I think I've been it's come up a lot recently, and people have got different views of it about and it's that word innovation. So I think
Mm.
innovation is something there which gets thrown around a lot, and there are people there who are doing genuine innovation. There's people there who are just sort of polishing someone else's work, so to speak, and sort of rebadging it a little bit. I think this is a an innovation comes in many different forms depending on what sort of you're looking to build in technology, or how you look at an industry, or how you are um, or how you're even looking at what you guys are doing at the moment but I'm really interested. This is a question I've been asking everyone recently, and it gets so many different answers, is what innovation actually looks like to you, what it means to you, and how you're embracing it.
It's a great question, Toby. And so the interesting thing, and you sort of touched it, but you didn't say the word because I think it's almost like it's become a dirty word, but diversity of ideas
Yeah, it's
is the
particularly in the
spark
States, right?
of innovation. Yeah, and it's the spark of innovation. And as the CTO at Curinos, we've established a product and technology wide hackathon, and as part of our internal innovation efforts. And I was recently at our office in Toronto, and I met with a number of team members. And actually, the thing they were most passionate to talk to me about was not sort of the trajectory of our company or things that might be changing or happening. It was to tell me their ideas for our forthcoming hackathon and the things
Amazing.
that they were going to work on. And that that was in our operations teams, it was in our QA team, it was in our AI team, of course, but full diversity of where these ideas are coming from. And if you think about what we're doing with innovation, adding the incubator is bringing another huge swath of external diversity of thinking
Yeah, yeah,
to bear to some of the core data assets so we have. So when I think about innovation, it doesn't necessarily have to be that one big customer or business impacting thing. It could be woven into changing how we could work. It could be woven into changing how we acquire our data. It could be woven into just changing and reducing the friction of the workflow of using our products. And that would be a great seed of innovation for us.
yeah. I think that's so well put. and that diversity of thought is something I think companies miss out on by pigeonholing various different parts of it. And I love the idea of this hackathon where it's not just one set vision of what we're doing this and here's let's make it into this sort of very techie sort of play in terms of what we're doing, but let's look
Yes.
at it and let's encourage different thoughts around it. That to me is innovation at its core, isn't it? It's about utilizing various different things, getting people to put at it, look at it from different angles, and come up with because I think sometimes we can be, particularly in tech, we can be so dogmatic about the tech that we're using, or
Yes.
evangelistic about which area of whether we're agile evangelists or wherever it sort of comes into it. This is the way
Yes.
we've got to do it, and we know the problem, so let's push that problem onto our customers and tell them what they need to know. But to me, that whole I say this a lot on the show, the whole idea of faster horses and the Henry Ford view of where it all
Right.
comes together, it always boils down to that, isn't it? It's like, let's listen to what customers' problems are. Let's do that sort of thing, and then bring in lots of different people to sort of brainstorm where it comes. And that to me is where this thing
Yes.
comes through, and this beautiful sort of opportunity that you guys have created to create this innovation lab and utilize, the breadth of data, knowledge, power, team, network that you've already got to then bring in some of the brightest and sharpest thinkers and put those things together. That is a perfect melting pot for further innovation and everything you guys have dealt
Yeah.
with so far, right?
Yes, it is, Toby. Yeah. Couldn't be more excited about it. It's
So
just a great opportunity for us.
I can sense it comes through. So looking ahead and saying, we're hurtling through Q1. This will probably be out actually towards the back end of Q2 with what we've got at the moment. But we are hours away now from the end of the first quarter of the year.
It's indeed.
We're seeing some common themes happening across the marketplace at the moment. If you were to sort of sit there with the crystal ball for the second half of 2025, if you're looking ahead to 2026, what are some of the key things that you think are going to really be changing in this industry right now, impacting the industry right now?
Boy, I think it's a revolution in customer service and the friction to get to data and information for the consumer that
Yeah,
is factual and conversational and much less frustrating.
yeah,
I hope I hope it's continual sort of improvement in decision making for banks,
yeah,
both what they do as sort of markets are changing, what they do as interest rates are changing or perhaps not changing as they might have expected, but having the
yeah,
right signals to make good decisions
yeah.
and the access to those decisions being more democratized from pockets or niches in the business to the decision making rooms in the business.
I think you're bang on with all that, and I've also spoken a lot about my thoughts that this industry has been hamstrung for obvious reasons for a little while compared to other areas. I go back 15 years when I first read a book about Tesco Club Card and by
Yeah.
Clive Humby and Edwina Dunn, who just launched Dunn Humby at that sort of stage, and we're doing incredible things with how consumer data could then be turned into offers that increased dramatically the performance of that. And retail was so far ahead of everywhere else in terms of their use of data at that sort of stage. And I worked in the finance industry where it was lagging significantly behind that sort of thing and felt
Yes.
constant frustration. Right now, I feel we're at that sort of stage where the right thing can be put in front of the right person, and we're so ready for it, aren't we, as humanity, to say we need to have this sort of instant gratification based through the digital aspects of every other area of our lives that needs to come through this user generation, reimagining of, user experience reimagining that we need across the industry. And there's so many tools right now in this space that allow us to make that happen. So a very exciting time of what we can see with that.
Very true, Toby. And I think you know what perhaps has changed since that time is we have the mechanisms to avoid disparate impact and those things now. And
Yeah.
that fits in sort of the regulatory and compliance constraints of the industry. It is funny, actually, while I was in Toronto, I learned to find my way through the Toronto path, which is the subterranean um, part of the city under the streets of Toronto, which is like a very large disconnected and highly complex North American shopping mall. And I was walking through a corridor and it had digital signage all the way down the corridor. And I was like, I'm in a scene from Minority Report. And and if only just a few of the themes on these, probably 20 screens down on either side. If only a few of these themes were represented here rather than the 20, and those two or three actually related to me, this
Yeah.
actually would be kind of an interesting walk because there's nothing else down this corridor, and I might learn something or I might discover something I otherwise wouldn't. But instead, I sort of bombarded with a whole mixture of colors and a mixture of messages, and it was a very odd experience.
It's We're still not quite there yet. I was had to try and fight my way out the Louvre the other day. If you go underground in there and try and find your way out, that's not that I found out isn't the easiest thing to do. So we're on a journey. We're on a journey for sure.
We
Um,
are.
and and I think it's the overwhelming thing that we spoke about right at the very start of this, just to sort of tie it all together, is to me, it's very much about the sort of fusion of human and machine. I speak about this quite a lot. I think the technology has to augment the human rather than replace the human, and the human has to adopt the technology and work with it. And I think people are getting very used to playing with it now and saying, right, what can we do? What can happen? How can we get
Yes.
this right? How can we get the prompts right? I saw some fascinating stuff over the weekend that I just found myself in a rabbit hole about just working out what we can do and how we can ask better questions to get better answers to then allow people to do this sort of stuff. And I think the quality of that questioning is starting to get sorted out. People are doing some really clever things with it all, and I'm really excited about what that looks like for the future of the of the industry. Full stop. I think right now. So, Ollie, look, let's as I said to you, we'd rattle through this, and it's because it's a subject that
Yes,
clearly
indeed.
both of us are very, very passionate about, and it goes with it when they click sometimes. But I want people to reach out to you. I'm sure that there's so many people in my network I know who are doing some really cool things, who are looking for that next sort of thing, the next sort of partner to have good conversations, to gain that investment, to be part of an incubator, to be wherever it is. Tell me, what's the best way for them to reach out and have a great conversation with you? What's the best way to do that?
The best way to reach out on our website, there's a link to the Curinos FinTech incubator. It'll give you a little bit of more of an overview of the information and access to an application form that will connect you with me and my team and our partners at CoMotion Labs at the University of Washington, and they will very quickly connect us directly if we think we mutually might be able to find something that we can really lean into together to spark a real seed here. So yeah, go to our website, curinos.com. Toby, I'll make sure you have the link and can show it
We'll
at
make
the
sure
end
we
of
put
this
it in all the
video.
things
And
when we sort of fanfare it to the world. So we're looking forward to getting that.
awesome, awesome. Thank
Ollie,
you so much.
absolute pleasure getting to know you. Thanks so much for coming on the show, and thanks to everyone involved in getting it sorted out. Really best of luck. I'm looking forward to seeing it all, and anything we can do to help and bullhorn and trumpet it as far as we can. We'll definitely be doing that. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you and having you on the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Toby. Hope to speak to you again soon about the progress we're making.
I'm sure you will. And thank you all for watching. We will see you soon on the next episode of FinTech Focus TV. Thanks a lot.